Viewfinder.
Hello
Focus
everyone
unlocked.
on
Image.
YouTube. This is Lachlan T 1984 from Melbourne, Australia. I've received a number of requests to make a video about the Wicked Cool Toys version of Teddy Ruxpin that came out in 2017. I got my Teddy Ruxpin, I think, in August of 2017. And I'm finally taking the time to make a video about it. Now, there was a lot of talk about this Teddy Ruxpin back in 2016 when it was announced. And people have had very, very strong and very divided opinions about it. A lot of people really like it, but a lot of people don't like it. And I'm going to address at least some of those issues today. I guess the first thing we'll get on to is the cosmetic design of Teddy Ruxpin. You can see that it's wearing a different jacket to what the earlier versions wore. It has this, what looks like a button-up jacket, but in actual fact it's not button-up at all. It's just held closed by Velcro. And he's also wearing like a bright orange t-shirt and things. And of course, the biggest cosmetic change is the eyes. These LCD eyes. A lot of people don't like them. I am not bothered by them, like everyone else seems to be. They don't bother me that much. A lot of people find them really creepy. I don't. There are other things about this Teddy Ruxpin that bother me far more than the eyes. First of all, I'll physically describe Teddy Ruxpin, and then I'll switch him on and we'll listen to bits of the stories. So, he has a moving mouth, obviously, and the LCD eyes. You can squeeze his hands and the badge on his chest to control him. If you squeeze his left front paw, that starts the story playing and also pauses the story. If you squeeze his right paw, that jumps from story to story. On the back of Teddy Ruxpin, we find a control panel with various things on it. You have the battery compartment, obviously, the power switch, a couple of indicator lights, a reset button, the Bluetooth connect button, and a micro USB port that's used to transfer new stories onto Teddy Ruxpin. And I'll come to that later. Teddy Ruxpin communicates with a smartphone or a tablet via Bluetooth. You use the Teddy Ruxpin app mainly to buy stories and also to view the pictures in the books. I'm going to turn Teddy Ruxpin on now.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
There are now, I believe, about 14 stories available for Teddy Ruxpin. I have them all. It came with 3 stories pre-unlocked and ready to play. And then there were 7 more stories that were already installed on Teddy Ruxpin, but I had to purchase them through the app and unlock them. Teddy Ruxpin is now ready. And to start playback, you can press either the left or right paw.
Come dream with me tonight. Teddy, hey Teddy. Huh? Oh, hi Grubby. What's going on?
Well, Teddy, I'm just a little confused.
Confused about what?
About bears.
You are?
Yeah, I thought that bears were bears.
I'll just pause that for a moment. If I press the right paw again,
Come dream
we've moved on to the next story, which is the airship.
There's Grubby. He's been a good good friend of mine for a long time. Say hello to our new friends, Grubby.
Oh, hi there. How are you?
And you'll notice that they completely removed the introduction to the airship, where Teddy Ruxpin introduces himself. The only valid reason that they would do that is because, well, there are two. The first is, this isn't the first story that Teddy Ruxpin plays. The first story that he plays is all about bears. And the second reason is because, of course, this version of Teddy Ruxpin doesn't come with physical ink-print books. Still, I think they could have left the introduction there for authenticity's sake. One big problem that I have with the stories for Teddy... One big problem that I have with the stories for Teddy Ruxpin is that dialogue and parts of some of the songs has been removed. I'll play Your Friend from the airship.
One face.
Or bits of it. And just excuse voiceover talking in the background there.
Hey, Grubby. Do you remember this song?
Yeah, I sure do.
Your friend is what I'd like to be. Your friend, 'cause I like you. Do you like me?
My friend, I'd like for you to be. My friend, I'm nice to you, you're nice to me.
Friendship is a lovely word. It makes a lovely sound. Friends are people that you like and like to be around.
Your friend
Your friend
is what I'd like to be.
Your friend,
Your friend,
'cause I like you. Do you like me?
my friend, I'd like for you to be.
My friend,
My friend,
I'm nice to you. You're nice to me.
friends can make you smile when you are sort of feeling sad.
And friends will make you happy. And I'm real glad I have you for my friend. My friend. Grubby and I have always wanted to go in search of new and wonderful things.
Those of you who have been familiar with Teddy Ruxpin for many years will realise that that song is about half as long as it normally should be. I contacted Wicked Cool Toys and asked them why they had shortened some of the songs and removed passages of text from the stories. If I remember their response correctly, it was due to, I think, testing they had done with young children who found some of the stories to have dragged on a bit and wanted them a little bit shorter. I personally don't think that's a valid reason at all. I just don't. I don't agree with the fact that they've shortened the stories, and I wish they hadn't. The editing they've done to the dialogue and some of the songs is very inconsistent, actually. There are the stories in the Treasure series, so stories like The Airship, Captured by Mudblups, and those are the first few stories that were available for the 2006 release of Teddy Ruxpin by Backpack Toys. Most of those stories have been edited in one way or another. Short passages of text have been removed. Also, All About Bears has been edited a bit too. However, there are some stories for Teddy Ruxpin, particularly stories like Teddy Ruxpin's Birthday and The Day Teddy Met Grubby, and also Grubby's Romance, where dialogue has not been edited to the same extent. I believe there was a very small passage of dialogue removed from Teddy Ruxpin's birthday, but as far as I can determine, Grubby's romance has not been edited in any way, shape or form. And the song that Grubby sings to Karen when he meets her is quite lengthy in that story. And it hasn't, as I understand it, it hasn't been shortened. Now, I think that's good. I'm very pleased that they haven't done that. But I do wish they hadn't edited these other stories. If you're at all familiar with the Backpack Toys Teddy Ruxpin from 2006, you will know that the final story in the Treasure series was called The Treasure. This was the story where Teddy, Grubby, Newton Gimmick, Prince Aaron and Princess Aruzia went to the Gatang City and found the Treasure of Knowledge, and then had an aerial combat battle with the Gatangs. That story is not available for this version of Teddy Ruxpin. When I contacted Wicked Cool Toys, they said the story wouldn't be available because apparently the original recording couldn't be found. I find this very upsetting, and I don't know. I can only trust what they say. But how Alchemy Communications Group didn't keep a hold of that archive when they've kept a hold of many other archives of Teddy Ruxpin content is beyond me. I want to talk quickly about the selection of the stories and how you select them. As I say, you press the right paw to move through the stories.
Come dream with me tonight.
And I think this is captured by Mublubs.
This story is about how my friend Grubby and I were on a journey. Come dream with me tonight. My pal Grubby and I. Come dream with me tonight. I would like to tell you the story of the missing prince. Come dream with me tonight. I would like to tell you a story. It's about the time when Grubby and Newton Gimmick and I had a most unusual experience.
I think this is Grubby's romance.
And it's an experience that I'll never forget.
Yes, I know, Grubby. It happened not long after Gimmick had invented his...
You'll notice as I was moving through the stories that Teddy Ruxpin didn't announce the title or the name of the story. I bought one of these Teddy Ruxpin toys for my niece at the end of 2017 as a Christmas gift. Recently I was playing with her Teddy Ruxpin and I noticed that her Teddy Ruxpin does announce the name of the story she's selecting in Teddy Ruxpin's voice. Wicked Cool Toys obviously must have made some updates somewhere. But whether those updates are available for my Teddy Ruxpin or not, I don't know. I've not contacted them about that. If you have the Teddy Ruxpin app on your smartphone or tablet, there's unfortunately no way for you to directly select a story you want to listen to. You can't just open the app and tap on a story and Teddy Ruxpin will start playing it. I wish you could, because that would make selecting stories a bit easier. It would be really easy if you could just open the Teddy Ruxpin app and tap on a story and begin playing it. But it doesn't work like that, which is really unfortunate. And another thing I should mention as well, you might have heard during your friend, if you were listening carefully, you might have heard during your friend, just as Teddy Ruxpin was singing, friendship is a lovely word, it makes a lovely sound, there was a slight interruption in the audio. The audio dropped out for half a second, or less. Teddy Ruxpin has a tendency to do that, and the points where it happens are inconsistent. So there are some slight issues with the quality of audio on this thing.
Portable reducing machine. Like his original big machine. Come dream.
One face, large face, face near bottom right edge.
Well, I just don't think so.
This is the day Teddy met Grubby.
No, I really don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I know you're usually never wrong, Teddy, but this time you are.
Grubby, why are we arguing like this? Come dream with me tonight.
Teddy, I think everyone already knows your name.
You do, Grubby?
Sure.
Now, as I've already mentioned, in many of the stories where Teddy Ruxpin introduces himself, that dialogue has been removed because, of course, when I switched Teddy Ruxpin on, he did introduce himself. But, again, there are some inconsistencies. A number of stories were released a few months ago that are classic Teddy Ruxpin stories, and they have that introductory dialogue where he says, "Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin," and so forth.
In fact, I'll bet people know a lot of things about you.
One face,
Come dream with me tonight. Hi there, I'm Teddy Ruxpin.
And Grubby, everybody, I'm Merry Christmas.
What?
I mean, Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm Grubby.
Grubby and I know that where you live.
Now, I just want to stop here and say that during this particular story, Teddy Ruxpin's Christmas, there are large parts of the story where Teddy Ruxpin's mouth does not move, and I think there are parts where he's singing. It's hard to tell because it happens during the adaptation of the 12 Days of Christmas that's on here. During most of that song, or during a large percentage of it, Teddy Ruxpin's mouth does not move, even though I think he might be singing. I really should compare this version of the 12 Days of Christmas on this Teddy Ruxpin to the version that's on, say, the Backpack Toys version, or the 1998 release by Yes Entertainment, because I have that particular story for those versions of Teddy Ruxpin.
Christmas is just about the best holiday of the year.
Yep.
And since we like... Come dream with me tonight. When I start to get sleepy, I like to sing a lullaby.
I do wish Wicked Cool Toys hadn't removed the introductory passage of dialogue from this story. Why did they have to do that? It's just unnecessary.
Come dream with me tonight. Let's go to far-off places and search for treasures bright. Come dream.
Alright. Thankfully, they didn't edit out too many passages of dialogue and song lyrics from this particular story, because this is Teddy Ruxpin Lullabies. This is one of my favourites. I want to talk now about the app available for Teddy Ruxpin, and what I have to say isn't what you call complimentary. As some of you will know, who have been watching my videos for a long time, I'm vision impaired. I'm actually considered legally blind, so I can't see very well. I can see a little bit, but not very well. When I use the computer, I have to enlarge text on my screen so I can read it properly. When I use my iPhone, I use a screen reader that Apple has bundled with iOS called VoiceOver. The Teddy Ruxpin app is completely, totally and utterly inaccessible with VoiceOver. You cannot navigate the app at all with VoiceOver running.
One face.
I have contacted Wicked Cool Toys about this on a number of occasions, and they have done absolutely nothing. They have not addressed the problem at all. The app has been updated several times, and Wicked Cool Toys still have not introduced support for voiceover. This makes me very angry and upset. It really does. There's no reason why the app shouldn't be accessible to someone who's blind. There's no reason why. It's completely unusable. Oh, and look, I have to use my iPhone 5S for this. I'm recording the video on my iPhone 10R, but because I want to show you the app, I need to use another device to show you the app. I do have a Google Android tablet, but it's very old, and when I have previously tried to get Teddy Ruxpin to connect with the tablet via Bluetooth, the results have ended in failure. It won't work for some reason. The tablet just will not connect to Teddy Ruxpin. I don't know why.
One. News folder. 2 apps. Double tap to open.
I'm not going to do a full demonstration of VoiceOver because that would take far too long. But needless to say, VoiceOver allows you to navigate around the screen and have items on the screen read aloud to you.
Photography folder, lifestyle folder, web folder, navigation folder, games folder, books folder, home automation folder, page 2 of 2, doc, productivity, communications folder, entertainment and multimedia folder, 18 apps. Double tap to open, utilities folder, 15 apps, 1 new item. Double tap to open.
You can hear that VoiceOver is announcing things on the screen.
Games folder. Opening games folder. Sonic 1. Teddy Ruxpin. Double tap to open.
I'm going to open the Teddy Ruxpin app.
Landscape. Home button to the right.
I-
Teddy Ruxpin.
I previously have opened the Teddy Ruxpin app on here. And if I try to navigate through the app with VoiceOver, you'll hear that we are getting absolutely no speech. The app is just totally unusable when VoiceOver is running. Completely useless. So I have to turn VoiceOver off.
Alert. Accessibility. Magnifier. Zoom. Button. Cancel. Zoom. Magnifier. Selected. VoiceOver. Button. VoiceOver off.
I've turned VoiceOver off now. And you will see that the app is not connected to Teddy Ruxpin, so I tap the
One
connect
face,
button.
small face, face near top edge. One face.
Oh, this is impossible. Oh, hang on, it is connected. I have to...
Dream with me tonight. Let's build a giant airship and sail into the sky. Let's watch.
Oh, I know what's wrong.
far below.
I know why it won't work. Because Bluetooth on Teddy Ruxpin is switched off. Well, I just made myself
One
look
face,
like a
large
complete
face,
idiot.
face near bottom edge.
Yeah, the Bluetooth is off. So I've turned Bluetooth on, and you'll see the light is flashing. When the light flashes once like that, that means that Bluetooth is on and not connected. If the light flashes twice, that means Bluetooth is connected. Now, what's going on here? Oh. Let's try that again. Alright, there we are, we're connected.
Let's watch the birds as they fly by. The butterflies in springtime will lead us.
One face,
on our way.
small face, face near bottom left
It's
edge.
not focusing on the text. That's probably because I'm recording a video
One
just
face.
now.
Our dream's a good one, and if our dream is right, then imagination
One
can
face.
be real if we will dream tonight.
You'll see that there are some basic animations happening
One
in the app.
face,
The butterflies
small
are
face,
flapping their
face
wings,
near
for
top left
example.
edge.
Well, they're not now because I've paused the
One
story.
face.
But the butterflies do flap their wings, and there are various other animations that happen. I actually really like the concept of listening to Teddy Ruxpin and having the pictures in the stories show up on the screen on your smartphone or tablet. I like that concept a lot. I think that's a really good concept, but it's just not implemented very well. The app is extremely bare bones. You cannot do much in the app other than purchase stories for Teddy Ruxpin and look at the pictures and the words. And you'll see also on the screen, although the camera wasn't focusing very well on the text, but you would have seen that the words were showing up synchronized at the bottom of the screen. Again, nice touch. I like that approach. I really do. I think it was done quite well. It's one of the few things in the app that was done well. Most of the things in this app were not done well at all, in my opinion. That's one of the few things they got right.
Come dream with me tonight.
And the pictures are nice and bright and colourful.
Come dream with me tonight. Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends? Hello there. How are you? My name is Teddy Ruxpin, and I'd like to tell you about the time when...
Oh, Teddy,
Well,
aren't you going to introduce me?
Now, you'll notice a few things. Teddy Ruxpin introduced himself twice. He introduced himself twice there. This is interesting. I'm not quite sure what they were doing there, but I suppose I'm just nitpicking.
well, Grubby, of course.
And why is it you...
Come dream.
In fact, that happens in all these stories.
One face, small face near bottom left edge.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends? I would like to tell you the story of the faded fobs. One day, Grubby and I were in Boggly Woods picking wild strawberries.
The other thing that I should probably point out is that the audio in the newest bunch of stories, Double Grubby, the story of the faded fobs, Summertime, and I think the other story is... I think it's Autumn Adventure. The audio is a bit quieter in volume than it is in the first batch of stories that became available for Teddy Ruxpin.
really like strawberries. Do you?
Hey, Teddy, there are lots of strawberries over here.
Oh, good, Grubby. We should be able to fill up the basket with all of these. If you'll...
What I was doing there is I was adjusting the volume on Teddy Ruxpin. And you'll notice when I did that a message came up on the phone screen telling me that I adjusted the volume. I should explain that, by the way. The power switch is also the volume control. When you set the switch to the center position, Teddy Ruxpin is switched on with the volume on low. If you push it all the way to the right, that puts the volume on high.
Stop eating them, that is.
Well, strawberry picking takes a lot of energy, and I've got to keep my strength up.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, besides, I picked 4 strawberries.
Now, look at that.
One of yours.
Yeah, Grubby, you're right. I can't keep up with your 8 hands.
One face, small face near bottom edge.
Better than 1, 2 hands are better than 1. If you have...
Did you notice that Teddy Ruxpin is wearing the red t-shirt and the blue pants which he wears on the 1998 Yes Entertainment version of Teddy Ruxpin? Did you notice that in the pictures? So clearly, they sourced the artwork from the re-releases of the stories from 1998. I do believe Story of the Faded Fobs was available for the 1998 version of Teddy Ruxpin. So, yes. There are a lot of inconsistencies with the production of this Teddy Ruxpin. There are just so many of them. Lots of inconsistencies. This really suggests to me that Wicked Cool Toys really weren't paying that much attention to detail during the production of this thing. The production just wasn't very consistent. So it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why could they not have been a bit more consistent with the approaches they took?
A job that must be done, 2 hands are better than 1.
4 hands are better than 2. 4 hands are better than 2.
If you have a job that you got to do, 4 hands are better than 2. So lend a hand whenever you can.
That's what friends should do.
And it might pay, 'cause then someday you might need help too.
One face.
8 hands are better than 4. 8 hands are better than 4.
To pick up seashells at the shore.
To sweep and mop and wax the floor.
Speed up shopping at the store.
8 hands are better than 4.
2 hands are better than 1. 2 hands are better than 1. If you have a job that must be done, 2 hands are better than 1.
Come dream with me tonight. Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
This is Teddy Ruxpin.
One face.
Hi there. Do you know what time it is?
No, Teddy. Is it time for lunch?
No, Grubby. It's time to do lots of...
One face. Small face. Face centered.
Cleaning time again, is it? We just did that.
One face. Small face. Face near bottom edge.
Spring anymore. It's summertime.
Oh, well, what can we do in the summertime?
One face. Small face. Face near bottom right edge.
It's the hottest, happiest time of year. The ice and snow are past.
The sun is out, so without a doubt,
It's summertime at last. In Bogollywood.
I do like the animations in these stories that are showing up on the screen there. I do like them. And I also like how the camera pans around a bit in these newer stories. It doesn't do that so much in the older stories, but in the new stories you can see that the camera pans around and moves from object to object. I do like that.
Come dream with me tonight. Hi, my name is Teddy.
Oh, excuse me, this story was
Can you and I be friends?
Grando Springtime Singtime. I thought it was Autumn Adventure, but it's not.
Say, Grubby, do you know the seasons of the year?
well, sure. There is summer,
Uh-huh.
fall,
Yeah.
winter,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I like best is Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep. You know, when the flowers bloom and the butterflies flutter.
Oh, you mean spring.
Oh, well, spring is a good time of the year, too.
It is?
Yep, that's when that Tuesday was.
Grubby, if I didn't know you better, I'd wonder if you made any sense at all.
Thank you, I think.
You know, Grubby, spring is one of my favorite times, especially during the Grundo Springtime Sing Time.
Yep, that sure is fun. Remember last year when we were invited to sing?
I sure do. Everybody was there.
Yeah, that festival happens every year at the beginning of spring.
And we began with one of my very favorite songs. Spring has sprung, oh gee, oh joy. Everything starts.
One face. Small face. Face near bottom left edge.
Oh boy, look at all the things that are happening.
Just pause that. So, that's a demonstration of the app. It does work well, but Wicked Cool Toys, you need to make the app accessible to voiceover users. You really do.
Zoom. Magnifier. Voiceover.
Just turn voiceover on the iPhone back on.
Voiceover on.
Just put it to sleep. I really think it's very important that they make the app accessible to voiceover users, and here's why. Children
One
who are
face,
sighted
large
are
face,
taught to read
face
in
near
print
bottom right edge.
when they're at a very young age. Literacy is one of the most important parts of life. Being able to read. If you don't know how to read, how can you function in life? How can you get a
One
job?
face, large
How
face,
can you
face near
do
bottom left
anything if you
edge.
don't know how to read? Reading is such an important skill.
One face,
Blind children should learn to read Braille at a young age. Braille is the key to literacy for someone who's blind. If you're blind and you can't read Braille, you're effectively illiterate. Did you know that it's possible to get a wireless Braille display and connect it to your iPhone? I don't have a Braille display because I don't read Braille, but I can read a little bit of print. But you can connect a wireless Braille display to your iPhone and read Braille output from your iPhone. A Braille display is an electronic device that has pins that move up and down that form the Braille characters. Each Braille cell consists of 8 dots on a Braille display.
one face,
And the
large
different
face,
combinations of
face near
dots
bottom
form the
edge.
Braille letters. Since you can connect a Bluetooth Braille display to an iPhone, it would be possible, if the Teddy Ruxpin app was fully accessible and accessible properly, for a blind child with a Braille display to be able to read the Teddy Ruxpin books along with Teddy Ruxpin in Braille. Of course, there's more to reading Braille than reading a Teddy Ruxpin book, but it will give a blind child the
One face,
opportunity
large
to
face,
read.
face near top right edge.
I wish that thing would stop checkering. To read the Teddy Ruxpin books in Braille, whilst the sighted parent could read along with the child by looking at the screen on the iPhone. And there are blind parents out there who have sighted children. If you're a parent who is blind, you could be reading the Teddy Ruxpin book along with your child on your Braille display while your child could be looking at the text on the screen. You may even have a situation where you have blind parents with blind children. For me, I can see well enough to see the text on the screen when the Teddy Ruxpin app is open. But I find navigating the app to be very difficult without VoiceOver. I use VoiceOver for pretty much every task I do on the iPhone, because I just find it easy to use, and the text on the iPhone is normally a little too small for me to read properly. It is extremely difficult for me to purchase stories in the Teddy Ruxpin app without VoiceOver on, because you have to tap very specifically on specific parts of the screen. And I find this very hard to do when VoiceOver is not running. So, I want to make an appeal to Wicked Cool Toys to please make the app accessible to VoiceOver users. I will be sending this video to Wicked Cool Toys. I really hope they can take note. The fact that the app is not accessible to VoiceOver users makes me very angry and upset, to be honest with you all. It really does. It's just not good enough. It just isn't good enough. The app really should be accessible. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. There's just not. I don't dislike this version of Teddy Ruxpin as much as some other people do. There are people out there who absolutely hate it. They think it's the worst thing ever. They think Wicked Cool Toys should not have developed it. They think that Teddy Ruxpin should have just not been re-released. A lot of people have very strong opinions about it. Now, I don't hate this Teddy Ruxpin. In fact, I quite like it. I really do like it. But Wicked Cool Toys really need to lift their game. They really need to improve this version of Teddy Ruxpin. The stories really shouldn't have been edited the way they were, where passages of text and song lyrics were removed. The app is just extremely basic and barely gets the job done. And the most important thing is, the app is not accessible to voiceover users. Now, I know blindness is a low incidence disability. It's well known that blindness is a low incidence disability compared to many other disabilities.
One face.
But
Large face.
so
Face near
many
bottom edge.
hardware and software developers are aware of the needs of the blind now.
One face.
Apple
Large
includes
face.
voiceover
Face
with
near
every
right edge.
iPhone model, beginning with the iPhone 3GS. If you purchase an iPhone as a blind person, you can use your iPhone immediately once you get it out of the box. If you purchase a Mac, you can use that immediately because it has the voiceover screen reader built into it. If you purchase a Microsoft Windows-based computer, you can use Narrator. Google have made Android accessible to the blind. So, if these big companies can make their products accessible to the blind, there's no reason why Wicked Cool Toys cannot do the same thing with the Teddy Ruxpin app. The Teddy Ruxpin toy itself is perfectly usable by someone who's blind. But the app isn't. And that's a big problem in my opinion. It's a really big problem. Overall, I am happy with this version of Teddy Ruxpin, but I really do think Wicked Cool Toys could have done much, much better. I hope that they release more stories in the future, and I honestly think they could make improvements to the stories they have out there, chiefly by replacing all the bits of text that they edited out. I really don't see the need for doing that. It's just completely unnecessary in my opinion. So that's my opinion of the new Teddy Ruxpin, and
Come dream with me tonight.
I've just set it going again. I'm not sure what story it's going to play.
Teddy,
All about bears, okay. I'll switch him off for the moment. So, now, that's my opinion on the new Teddy Ruxpin, and I hope this satisfies those people out there who were wanting me to make a video about this version of Teddy Ruxpin. I would have to, if I had to give this Teddy Ruxpin a rating of 1 to 10, I would probably give it, I would say, probably a 6 out of 10. I'm glad that Teddy Ruxpin has been re-released, but I honestly think that it could be a lot better. Thanks for watching my review, everyone. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now, everyone.